I reckon we can just about get started. What do you think, fam? In the chat, let me know. Welcome, welcome, welcome to another week of Trading with Aussie. Lots happened this week, fam. Lots happened. So there's a lot to talk about. There's a lot to have a look at. There's some side plays that we can look at. But as always, if you're watching this live and you're here with me tonight, thank you so much for being here. I appreciate your time. And if you are watching this recording, make sure to leave a comment down below on YouTube. Let's get started. Let's go, let's go. All right. First of all, Bitcoin, new all-time high. Happy new Bitcoin all-time high. We cracked the previous high, which was the 112, just a few hours ago. It was this morning for us here in Australia, and it would have been different time elsewhere. Pretty simple. But yeah, we hit the 112, 150, and as expected, there's a lot of bearish pressure. I did call it a sell, which got stopped out. Grey boxes here. I keep all my trades for transparency, so you can always look. And this is kind of currently what I'm looking at, what I have been looking at in the last few hours. I'd love to see a retest of this area up here. And specifically, I was eyeing this 15 minutes candle right here, which got tagged beautifully. And now we're creating some sort of higher, lower highs. I'd be inclined to press the sell button here. However, there is a lot of liquidity both sides, so a move like this is possible, just as much as a move like this is possible. So it's a bit risky at the moment to take a position. If you are a retail trader that grew up on YouTube, you can probably see some sort of flag here. This is almost a perfect flag. You can see, like, I think there's somewhere there's a flag that you can literally draw. Anyway, no point in wasting time. All I'm seeing is this 1, 2, and 3. Obviously, with this being the pole of the flag, when there is this kind of liquidity, there's liquidity down here, there's liquidity up here. So we need to see what the market is going to do. And usually what happens is there's a drawn liquidity on one side, either way, and then there's a move in the opposite direction. Okay, so just be prepared. We might see, it looks like we're setting up for some sort of draw liquidity up and potentially a continuation up. Or we could just have a retest if it's a bearish move. Whereas if we do bounce up and we have a drawn liquidity on the upside, that could be that kind of scenario, or we could see some sort of move a bit more can't say that word, a bit more exaggerated, if it makes sense. So for Bitcoin, I am looking at a short, basically. That's the long story short. I'm getting some short vibes, pretty easy, all-time high, lots and lots of liquidity just being grabbed from the market. These liquidity trend lines you can see here, they were the previous highs. So we talked about it, I think it was last week. So 1, 2, 3, they all got taken out pretty aggressively. So when we do have these kind of moves, we obviously leave behind a lot of imbalance down here, which means we will likely at some stage feel it. Doesn't have to be now, but there is definitely something worth paying attention to, these imbalances down here. Okay, so my bet is likely we're going to go down, but I haven't called out anything yet because it is a bit of a gamble at the moment. And I know someone in the chat earlier said they'd like to have a look at ETH. Well, ETH, of course, is going to... let me just cry out this. This was a previous trade, so we don't need it there at the moment. Just confuse people that are going to record. What we have on ETH at the moment is a very nice setup for a short. And I'll quickly run it through why. So this is on the daily, of course. So we can see previous high, previous low, grab a fib. We are currently sitting between the 50 and the 61.8 area, so very important macro level for ETH, of course, but also in a smaller time frame, or I should say in a smaller picture, we have previous high, previous low, and we are currently sitting at very much the extreme of this area. So 786 at A6 is right here, right? You can see 786 at A6. We are currently sitting in it, which means this could be potentially a very nice short that gives us a nice risk to reward. I think I actually highlighted it. Sorry, I didn't have to draw it. It's right there. This gives us a nice short opportunity potentially. So do I want to take it now? Well, it depends on what on what Bitcoin is going to do, right? Like if Bitcoin decides that it's time to move down, then sure. I can say this though, and I can say this live, and I'm happy it's recorded, so you've got it. This week's on an hourly chart tell me more times than not we're gonna go down. Okay, these are drawn liquidity. This is a market attempting to grab previous liquidity levels, right? Equal highs. Oops, sorry. Equal highs right there. Grab. And this candle, I don't know, you can't see it. I'll make it a little bit bigger, but I'll circle it first. That candle right there, boom, gets mitigated right now. So ETH is giving me some serious bearish reasons at the moment. It's a little bit too soon if you want to be absolutely spot on, but when you've been trading for a number of years, you see these candles aggressively taking out equal highs. Well, more often than not, these candles indicate a reversal. So it doesn't have to be all the way, you know, it could just be simply as low as these kind of levels, just to come back here, fuel up for then another expansion up. But at current market price, ETH is definitely setting up for a nice short. And you can see this liquidity. Sorry, that was a terrible line. This liquidity right here. The second one wasn't much better, but you understand what I'm trying to do. So there's money all down here, right? So I am definitely leaning towards a bearish setup at the moment. And under Greenie was saying he's also not pressing sell until we have some confirmations, and absolutely fair enough. But this kind of drawn liquidity up here, these kind of candles on a 15 minutes, yeah, they signals, right? They're signals. Sometimes if you're a bit more of an expert trader, and if you're not, it's okay. Everyone starts somewhere, right? Like I'm not here to tell you you gotta be an expert trader. All I'm saying is if you've been in the market long enough, you start to recognize signs, and these are not always 100% of the time, but sure is setting up for sure looks like he's setting up for a short. This will be my first immediate target for a short on ETH, followed by potentially this liquidity level. You can see that's a nice confluence in that level right there with that buy to sell move, and then obviously we head down below onto this kind of 2,500. But yeah, I'm not against taking a short on ETH at the moment. We're not too far off from the candle of interest. If you wanted to be an absolute sniper, you could wait for a retest, but this candle has unfortunately been tested already, so we might not even get back up there. You can see this candle right here this week was the retest. Sure, there is a bit of an imbalance left behind, but market doesn't always have to fill those imbalances right away. That's not what ICT tells you, does it? It's always, oh, you got to trade from those. Well, that's not true because the market can come back there later on. So setup like this for ETH, yeah, I see that. I see that as a possibility for sure. And this is a 1 to 2.5 if you take it right this second. So it's not too bad of a risk. And then obviously, if we go down to the previous level, which was here, you're looking at a 1 to 4.2. Yeah, if you're watching live, this is an idea. I'd be happy to take a short from right this second. So if you want to take a screenshot real quick, you can. I'm gonna take a sip of water. And let me know in the in the chat box if you have any questions, of course. Happy to answer any other charts. But for now, this is the ETH setup that I like. And I'm gonna take it. I'm gonna take it real quick on a Thunder account. We've done this mistake before. Calling the trades, not taking them. So, gonna do it right now. Bear with me 2 seconds. Two, 8, 2, 3. Boom. Done. It's a bit more. I like this setup. Open that is short just before the stream. Perfect. Yep. And look, it's already starting to move. So I like it. It's a good thing about being live, right? You probably heard that click. That's me going live on my account. So I took it from here. Beautiful. We got a live setup. Gotta love that. Solana. Of course, similar to what we just discussed, right? Like we talked about this, and I do apologize. This was the idea that I talked about in the chat, which was basically I wanted to run you through this. Let's hide this. Gets a little bit smaller. What do we have here is we have consolidation, fake out, real move happens, right? This is just how money moves. Money is energies. Consolidates, grabs the energy it needs, then there's a fake out, and then there's usually a real move eventuating. What do we have here? We had consolidations for quite some time, didn't we? Right here. We obviously had the grab. Oh, sorry, that was a bit too much. Grab of liquidity right here. And then the move happened right here. Didn't quite catch the short. It missed us by a smidge. I know that some of you guys managed to get trigger, which is awesome. Because we were so close. This was original idea right here. So it missed us by not a lot, but I know that some of you guys managed to get in. So super happy that you did. And of course, this idea ran pretty much all the way down to TP. Didn't quite make it. But isn't that funny how now we are running towards other liquidity levels? And depending on the feed that you follow, in this case, I'm following Coinbase feed. And I think I put it in a post. This week on Coinbase feed was not present in other feeds. So this is massively a smart money week, which tells me there's a lot of liquidity in that level waiting for mitigation, waiting to be grabbed, waiting to be liquidated. So I am definitely also looking for a short Solana within this level. And because other feeds didn't quite get to it, this 4-hour candle right here, and I'll zoom in on it so you can see what I'm talking about. This last buy to sell move, right? This was the last buy right here. I'll put a little arrow so we can all see it. Was the last buy to sell move. Pretty much no other feed aside from Coinbase got even near it. So there's definitely a point of interest for me into that candle to come back to it and press sell from there. So I'd be inclined to press a sell or look for a sell, and keeping this stop loss relatively tight, potentially to the previous buy to sell move, initiation move right there. Something like this, it's very much a possibility. And now I can probably just delete all this now that we talked about it. I just wanted to run through the idea that I was sharing on the Discord, right? That's not relevant anymore. We can get rid of it. This is going to be my next area for Solana, looking for a short. This 4-hour candle right here. Okay, so very close. Not quite there yet, but definitely keep an eye out. Of course, we can get some micro moves in the meantime, especially if Bitcoin decides to drop, and we can take a quick look. Yeah, Bitcoin looks like it's going to drop, in my opinion. It's pushing down. It's 12 minutes left. Made a lower low there. Yeah, I'm fairly confident. And if not, well, so be it. But I do like a short at the moment. So XRP had a really nice area to short, which I didn't call out because we didn't really see a lot of confirmation, but I was looking at this candle right here. I didn't quite like the fact that it didn't take up previous liquidity, and in fact, if anything, this whole area formed liquidity. You can see we basically just created a massive liquidity pool. So I was looking for shorts on XRP, but market didn't quite give us the move. I was hoping for some sort of liquidity grab before the short. Didn't happen up until now. So now we definitely have come up, and you can see this last few candles are grabbing that liquidity, and conveniently we have the same candle we were looking at with Solana, that buy to sell move. It's a lot closer for XRP, so but we also did trade into it already. So this area right here, the 2.45 to the 2.43 for XRP, I wouldn't mind a tight little short. I want to say tight, I mean stop loss just before this week right here, right at the 7.6. So call it 2.5 for a short in XRP. So macro level, looking for shorts at the moment. No point in looking for longs at all-time high. We've seen some sort of rejection. I'm not looking for swing shorts. They're likely relatively short time frame, maybe a day, maybe two, but that's kind of like on the main fours that I'm looking at. Let's talk about what happened this week. So this week we've had Trump, well, just a couple of days ago, actually, yesterday, filing for the ETF, right? The blue chip ETF. And interesting enough, we had obviously Bitcoin, who would have thought, Ethereum included, Solana, XRP, and Crypto.com or CRO, which I found extremely interesting. And we'll take a little look, and I'll run it through my thesis as to what can happen and why potentially Crypto.com was chosen. But at a very high level, we can see that Crypto.com, this is on a spot on MEXC. So Crypto.com is down, right? All-time high, we were looking at almost $1. We are currently sitting at 10 cents. So we are down big time. And just the other day, it was sitting at 0.08. So, under 10 cents. We're looking at pennies. Tokenomics are shocking in CRO. They're not really that good, but we obviously had a massive move down. Now, why has Crypto.com decided to all of a sudden steal the limelight, right? Like we could have gone with Coinbase as the designated, blue chip. Well, I did some research, and turns out that Crypto.com have been massively successful in capturing the Dubai market. The whole of the Middle Eastern market, Crypto.com has strategically managed to form really, really good partnership with. And I found that interesting. I was like, oh, okay, so obviously crypto.com is formed. I'm not gonna try to draw it. I'm just gonna write it down. So we have crypto.com in the UAE, but that also means that Coinbase keeps on growing in the US, right? And just recently, Coinbase and, mind you, Ripple, so two US-based company, filed to become banks effectively, right, in the United States. So in the US, this is major news. If this is successful, this means that they're going to be able to hold your crypto, and they're going to be giving you some tiny little carrot while they hold your crypto. So effectively, Coinbase and potentially Ripple, they're going to monopolize, literally. They're going to be the major market share. The market share in the US is going to be taken. It's going to be taken. So crypto.com probably saw this and said, hang on a second. Okay, so we basically have these two major players right now in the States. We can't compete, right? It's sure, they're a big company too, but let us focus instead on the UAE. We all know how much money there is in the UAE, right? Lots and lots of money. Crypto.com has managed to form partnership with with Emirates. You can now pay Emirates, I think as of maybe today or very soon. There's a preliminary agreement, I think it was today, where you can basically pay for your flight in crypto, right? So think of that. Think you bought Solana at $8 and you want to travel around the world and you pay in Solana. Oh man, that's a cheap flight. And that is thanks to crypto.com. They also managed to find some really good partnership with the actual Dubai entity. So in Dubai, there's a thing called, and if anyone is from Dubai here on the stream or listen to the recording, they probably know this. There's a thing called VARA, which I think stands for, I want to say virtual asset. I think it's virtual assets regulatory authority or something like that. It was basically it's if you own virtual assets and you're an influencer or you're a creator, there is going to be regulations in place in the UAE that are going to let you lawfully make money, but also they're going to protect. This is really important. They're going to protect, right, the users. So, and this obviously it's massive for Dubai, I guess, pool of users, but ultimately, who is it behind it? It's crypto.com. So, once again, really good partnership. So, really interesting to see how we have in the United States, pretty much the monopoly is crypto. It's Coinbase and Ripple, massive monopoly. But you go outside of the United States, and crypto.com is really making moves. And even here in Australia, we do have a bit of crypto.com. There's not, I wouldn't say they're massive, but you can definitely see them. But they are really trying to push as well in places like Singapore. So CRO in Singapore is going to be probably the next big hub. And that kind of got me thinking a little bit. Okay, so obviously crypto.com is not a publicly traded company, right? So you've got Coinbase. Coin is the ticker. you've got Circle, which we all know, Ripple. Ripple is Circle, which is obviously IPO at the moment, whereas Crypto.com is not a public traded company. But are there potentially affiliated companies in stock that we can look at and potentially benefit if Crypto.com does go for a massive run in the coming months, thanks to all this partnership and moves that they're doing in the, I guess, in the UAE and overall pretty much anywhere outside of the US. And there's a few that I kind of think that might really benefit from it. And before I move on, there was another one that I forgot to say. Crypto.com also did a fiat wallet in the UAE, meaning you can onboard. It's an on-ramp. So it's an on-ramp, off-ramp platform. Super easy to basically get onto the crypto. So they're really, really doing good things. Now, stocks. And I can see Daza is here, so he's going to love this. Daza, shout out, loves his stocks. What banks inside the United States could potentially, see a run if this whole crypto regulatory scenario does decide to boom? Well, back then we had Silvergate, SI was a ticker, right? And obviously collapsed and all not. But there is a bank called Cross River Bank. Forgot the ticker. Cross River Bank. The ticker is where is the ticker? Cross River Stock. So it's trending. I want to see it on TradingView though. Give me the ticker. Yahoo Finance. Yahoo Finance. Cross River. I think it's this one as potentially ventures. Cross River Bank. Banking. Request for payment to power smarter real-time money movement. It was this one. Yeah. Cross River. So, short of it is, Cross River Bank is positioning itself. They don't have a ticker yet. I guess that's what I should have disclosed. They don't have a ticker yet because they are trying to position themselves to fill the void of Silvergate. And another one that I was looking at was Custodia. I think it's called Custodia Bank. If you look, Custodia Bank crypto, you have plenty of. There you go. Custodia Bank specializes in digital asset payments and custody solution for US commercial customers. So we have two banks in the United States really trying to fill in the void. Then, of course, and this is from a banking perspective, right? This is strictly from a banking perspective. So we have Cross River and Custodia that I'm looking at. What is actually associated though with Crypto.com? Well, short story is nothing. Nothing is. They don't really have an association per se. They do have, however, a company called Foris DAXT. I think it was Ltd or Limited. There you go. This company, Foris DAXT Limited, is a company affiliated with Crypto.com, operating as a cryptocurrency exchange. You can see here, it does have PTY Ltds around the world. Interesting. There is no direct equities or IPOs. However, this company, Foris DAXT, is currently looking, or at least there's rumors, of public listings. Okay, so Let's see. You can see registered, application for limited relief. I'm just giving you some homeworks here. These are the homeworks that I do when I look at things to bring you. This is early, but this is what we could potentially be looking very shortly. Oh yeah, you have to. You have to, Sunday. You have to go down the rabbit hole. Always ask questions. Like, why did crypto.com go for a run? What can benefit from it? What entities is it affiliated with? How deep do you want to take it? Well, I'll tell you, there's things. All this is not. You want, like, unless you connect the dots, nobody connects the dots for you, right? And when you get served a complete picture, is often too late, and the move has already happened. So if you want to be early, you have to go down this kind of rabbit holes. All I'm saying is keep an eye for Foris DAXT. They are an entity, as you can see. They're operating under the brand name of Crypto.com. Keep an eye out. They are trying to get a public listing. And if you want to know where they're based, I'm fairly sure it is Singapore. There you go. Foris DAXT is a Singapore-based entity operating Crypto.com. Okay, so understand where the money is, understand where the money comes from. And sure, we might not be able to trade it on the US stock exchange, but we might be able to trade it under the Singapore stock exchange, and there might be an ETF coming. There's many different ways that we can trade, right? And for us here in Australia, we can trade some of the stocks. So very, very important that we put this on the map, I think. Especially with Trump coming out and saying, you know, we've got the main fours, BTC, ETH, XRP, Sol, and randomly Crypto.com. Like, what? It was a bit random, but not so much when you start going, after the, where is the money? Where is the money? Coinbase is likely going to become a bank. Circle is likely going to become a bank. So who outside of the United States we can kind of leverage, Crypto.com, of course, being one of them. So this is kind of what I wanted to bring to your attention tonight, really. Take you down a bit of a rabbit hole. And this might be a good entry that we get an opportunity to take down here, potentially in this week at the 0.0850. But to be perfectly honest, excuse me, I'm not too mad if we, start DCIing from this level all the way down here, because if the upside, we could potentially come and fill this level. We could potentially come and fill some of this week's at 23 cents. Who knows? Like, once these kind of levels get tapped, well, then next we're going to go into the 30 cents. And, if you enter at 9 cents right now, that's over 3x. So definitely something to keep an eye out for Crypto.com. Being a big player potentially in the coming months, not so much in the US, but outside of the US, and potentially correlated to a stock play as well. So, and then obviously as a thought process, if we look at, okay, Crypto.com is going to obviously boom. What else can benefit from it? Well, first of all, the first I can think of will be obviously a company like MasterCard and Visa. We had a look at Visa, I think recently. It's a pretty asymmetric bet, like in terms of, it's pretty easy. My stocks always go so slow. I don't know why, but it's my chart in stock. Oh man, this is upsetting. Oh, did we not catch that? Oh, silly. We marked it, never called it. It happens. But Visa, obviously we can see we are forming high. So I'm not going to enter here. We are almost an all-time high for Visa. So I'm going to wait. I'm going to be patient. I like to see this kind of move potentially get retested, and an entry at sub 300 will be ideal to come and retest this fair value gap. We might not get it though. So Visa would definitely be one for me to keep an eye out in terms of benefit from potential crypto adoption, as we know. Another one which we have been calling out and we have been catching was PayPal. of course, we know that PayPal is currently already have launched a stablecoin. This was our entry. So if you took PayPal, you're up already. Literally, this is Cole in the Discord. You're up. We pretty much got the bottom there of that move. We're up 25%. At some stage, almost 30%. On a stock is not a bad play, Tim. I know that we're talking crypto, but 30% on a stock, you're licking your chops usually. So yes, this is a great move to catch on PayPal. So PayPal, Visa were my main two that I was kind of thinking outside the box and how we're going to look at it. And of course, we have pretty much anything to do with Google. Google is likely going to be a major player in pretty much anything. However, Google has been losing a lot of market share to AI. So this is an area that I'm interested in seeing broken as opposed to looking for a buy. I am expecting Google to potentially retest, break, and come back lower. I do want to see Google somewhere in the 130s, or even lower, to be honest. This is the whole move from the low to the high. We're currently sitting at the, obviously we tapped the 50% right here. You can see we tapped it. Didn't quite get deep enough, but I do want to see Google in this kind of area at a 109 before I press. Oh, no worries. Pleasure. Glad that you found it useful. I'll if you guys like this kind of info, this is literally what I do. This is how I find stocks and plays. So if you like these kind of rabbit holes, and I know that I'm talking to 0x Fastly, which has a rabbit PFP, but if you like these rabbit holes, I'll bring more of them. I do like rabbit holes. I go down in quite a few. So if there's an appetite for it. But yeah, going back to obviously Google, I'm not going to press buy, but I do want to see Google going down before I press any buy there. But I think long term, Google will definitely sort that stuff out. Just the sheer amount of capital that got behind is obviously it can't be ignored, right? That's kind of the main ones that I was looking at. Custodia Bank, of course, all the banks, custodian, cross-river, if and when they do IPOs, we need to have a look at possible ETFs. There's a couple of ETF that can give you indirect exposure. I think one is Block. If I'm not, I think it's Block. I forgot. And the other one was BITQ. I think it was BITQ. Yes, Bitwise, which is, and yeah, there you go. Bitwise crypto. This is basically a way to have exposure on anything crypto without necessarily picking your lane. But not a huge fan of this kind of ETFs personally. They do serve a purpose, but yeah, not hugely fond on them. But if you want to, not having to pick and have a easy route, there is also these possibilities available for us. So I rather hold Coinbase. So Coinbase is definitely something that I rather hold, right? We talked about Shift before, and it's amazing how they actually held. But I do think Coinbase is gonna eventually get to $1,000. Like it's just programmed, personally. So we were calling. I know we were talking about it here. You can see we had this. I was waiting for this liquidity line down here. We talked about it. I know that some of you even have options open. So I don't know if your options are still going, but if they are, yeah, shout out. I do want to see this kind of level retested eventually, and that could be an entry at around the 300. We will see. That is it. Target keeps chugging along nicely in terms of stocks. We obviously had XYZ, which is going for a nice little run. XYZ, and for those of you who don't know, this was Block that I was looking for earlier, actually. This is the company behind Square, the payment platform, right? So I think Square is going to definitely play a part moving forward. And I know that Dorsey, the billionaire founder of Twitter, and now obviously Block, is just about to launch a new P2P based on Bluetooth. So no internet, no nothing. It's pretty cool. Look it up. there's another rabbit hole for you to go down through. There's a social media platform that is not going to be internet connected and is going to be encrypted and only works on Bluetooth. So, founded by Dorsey, the billionaire founder of Twitter. So, who owns Block? Who owns Square? So, yeah, there's a lot of dots to be connected when it comes to these things. That's why I love stocks. It kind of gets you thinking. Some sort of TPs for Block. It's going to be around the $76 to $80 very soon. Oh, Sex in the house. Good morning. Good morning. We've been talking. We've been going down the rabbit holes, mate. Might have to catch some recording if you weren't on. We talked about a few things. That is, yeah, yeah. Please do. There's a nice little rabbit hole, which apparently was is quite enjoyable for you. So we will talk about more. If you're watching the recording, you can't understand what's happening right now, but we have a picture of a man slapping hard on a bonfire. So yes, we slapped. That's it. That's Jack right there. Look at him. Now, questions in the chat. Take yourself off mute if you want to come and hang out, or just type them away. That is what I wanted to chat about for tonight. Oh, mate. Thank you for your time, Sunday. I appreciate each and every one of you that give me your time every week. I know that time is the most valuable thing we have. Money comes and goes, but time, once it's gone, it's gone. So just a quick vibe check. Yep, just like we predicted. Bitcoin is going. ETH is in profit. Happy days. That's it. Figuratively and also potentially literally if it's dinner time for you. It is 8:15 here in Australia, so I might go and get a little nibble. Any questions, fam? Any comments, thoughts? We have a live trade which is active. 2 if you decided to take BTC as well. Let's eat. Let's go eat. That's our portfolio. But yeah, put those names in your watch list. Yep, activating profit. Make sure you put those names in your watch list. Easy way to do it. You can literally jump on Google and set alerts. I don't know if you know this, but on Google you can set alerts on certain keywords. So whenever there's a news about a certain word that you selected, you get an alert, you get a notification. So obviously you don't have to type every time Foris DAXT or Custodia Bank or Cross River. Just set an alert, let Google do the work for you. Team, as always, I appreciate your time. Thanks heaps. Glad that you liked the rabbit holes. We'll bring more of it. And yeah, let's see together. Have a good one, fam. Ciao, ciao.